when I was growing up, when I was the early days as an MP, my father wouldn't let me involve in any of the, when there's come to reshuffle of the politician, he never asked for my comments. I didn't understand why until today. If I could go back one thing in life that I could do, I would get asked for just a chance to say goodbye to my dad on the 23rd of April, 2559, to say goodbye to him and said, I love him.
Welcome to AM Hour. The soul of AM Hour is to encourage people to communicate. We believe in bridging the gaps with words. We believe in education. We believe in being a student of the world and expanding our boundary as a global citizen. In this hour, there will be flaws in our English, but that is not the essence of it. The key things are that we get to communicate, we get to bridge the gaps, and we get to be a global citizen. I hope we can agree on that and enjoy this hour. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับ
Welcome to AM Hour. It's quite an honor for us that having you this morning.
The honor's mine. The honor's mine. Thank you so much.
How would you want to introduce yourself in your own context? Because like people know you, like you maybe like คุณบรรหาร Son, a politician from Suphanburi, but in your own context, in your own words, who is
Top? Well, Top is a dad. Top is a son. Top is a brother. And Top is a husband. So overall, Top is just another person walking the street of Thailand, basically. I'm, all these minister, all this leader of the party. It's just another cap, that we are wearing. Once we take all the hats and all the titles and everything off, just another ordinary man who likes to enjoy himself with his family, with his children, and enjoy life really. But when a time call for action to work for the country, then so be it. But at the end of the day, you go back home, I'm just an ordinary man walking the street.
Let's talk a bit about my show. It's AM Hour, an hour with M, and it's going to be in English. But have you seen a bit of the content of that we done?
Some. It's been very entertaining, it's very different, and persons you have invited. That's why I said it's also my honor to be here in your show this morning. And well, I'm sure it'll be a good one.
But you have spent nearly a decade in the UK, right?
Yes, I did.
So your English is so fine, and
it's communicable.
It's so good. And the question is that do you think it's necessary, is it required for a prime minister in this era and time to speak English well?
It would be a plus. Of course, having certain skills, having extra skills, be it English or the fitness, you can be a really fit like Governor Chat, he wakes up and go on a run. I mean, I can't even run a kilometer without having a heart attack probably. But having an extra set of skill as a leader is always a plus. Is it a requirement? Is it a must? I don't think so. It would be good, but it doesn't mean that if this guy can't run 10 kilometers, he can't be a leader. Or if this guy can't speak English, then he can't be a leader. Like I mentioned earlier, there's always an assistant. There's always a tool to help you out in all occasions. When you become the leader, you have all the facilities and all the tools and everything at your hand you can use. I mean, let's say if I go to, Czech Republic, and their leader doesn't speak English and I don't speak Czech, that would have to be an intermediary to translate. So what? As long as the two leaders understand. I mean, the only country in the world that we wouldn't need a translator is when we go to Laos. We speak almost exactly similar language. That's it. So, is it a plus? Yes. It is a requirement. I don't feel it is. No.
More about politics. One of the topics that being discussed during the younger generation is, the word การเมืองบ้านใหญ่. This is another Thai คำอังกฤษคำ that I couldn't come up with specific English word. Maybe you can help me out.
We use the word patronage system.
Patronage
system. Patronage in Thai means ผู้มีอุปการะคุณ. Okay. In English, it means like you have good deeds over someone. It's like someone you owe you something. You help someone. That is kind of the patronage system. I think that is the core. It is a pros and cons actually. It's a core of the Thai society. We grew up as one big family. You live with your parents until they die, or until you die, or even your parents also. You look after your children as well. If your neighbor or neighbors are in trouble, you help out. It enables us to live as one big happy family. That's the pros of it. Now the cons of it is that when one gets into the position of having the authority to do something, now the patronage system can act in a negative way, as you help your people, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. That is also the negative side. But in Thai society until today, political under the patronage system still plays a very, very big role in Thai society. Maybe not so much in a metropolitan area like in Bangkok, but when you go out into the rural areas, as a politician, people will come to you from the water stopped running to I've got diarrhea, please help me, or please can you help my son get into school, please can you help my father find a job, etc., etc. It's from A to Z. As a politician, it's always about patronage. You have to be able to help the people, and then the people say, oh, this guy is reliable. If this is a go-to guy, if I couldn't think of anything, I go to this guy. He's my go-to guy, so he will be my representative. If I've got zero knowledge about law or legislation, it doesn't matter. This is my go-to guy. I will elect this guy. So this is a patronage system, or like you mentioned, การเมืองบ้านใหญ่. This is how it is in Thailand, and it will always be like this. But it's not always a bad thing, because it keeps the ties between the communities. Is the fundamental value of the Thai society for centuries.
Even yourself, you are like a minister and you want to get job done in a lot of things about climate change. Especially we have mentioned about we're gonna talk, like we're gonna spend minutes talking about global climate change. But coming back to the topic that we have mentioned, this patronage system, this collective society of Thailand, it is the way it is. And as you mentioned, it might always will. But for me, like looking from a journalistic point of view, there is quite a problematic as well, because like the fact that it's like ระบบอุปถัมภ์ and this and that is so many difficult to get things done.
I couldn't agree with you more. That's why I said there's always a pros and cons. Now, despite the fact that we have a patronage society since God knows when, since centuries, but in order to move forward, the standard of ethics, the standard of operating, as once you get into power, you have the authority to do something, you have to have ethics. Of course, people want you to do this. Oh, you owe me this, you owe me that. But such owing, a wise man once told me that the owing part stops when someone asks for it. For example, if I helped you and one day I want you to help me and I collect on my debt, say, hey, you owe me. That's the day when such debt is done. So the best way to keep that debt going is not to ask for it back in return. Now that was a good patronage system.
So from your point of view, and I'm quite fortunate to get to talk to you, because I don't think I can find someone so ideal to ask this question, because you are dealing with patronage system itself. Like you may be benefited from the system itself as well, but at the same time you have to be the global citizen. You have to deal with like this climate change issue, that it needs something to get things done quickly.
I can assure you one thing. Now I'm going to get a lot of comments on what I'm about to say, is that over the past 3.5 years as a minister of natural resource and environment, never once that I allow the patronage system to affect my work. Until today, I've never had a scandal related to the word corruption. Of course, at the end of last year, people would start saying, oh, what about the Department of National Parks? Now that was done on an individual basis. When I appointed the Director General, he had a pretty clean, good profile. So we appointed him. But then when things happen. I do not deny responsibility, but the responsibility I took that, we set up all the measures to, investigate and to punish those who were involved. Then that process still go on. But the work in the ministry, never once did I use a patronage system to run the ministry. And that is how I managed to move ahead as far as I have done today, especially in terms of climate change. Because if using the patronage system, climate change is not going anywhere. Because climate change doesn't really care. Mother Nature does not care about who owes what to whom. It's all about equality. When she strikes, she strikes. When there's going to be a flood, it floods everywhere. When there's going to be a drought, everyone gets hit by it. So the work in the ministry, there's no word such as patronage with the Mother Nature.
And that's a good answer leading to the next topic, climate change.
Yes.
We have seen so many of your speech discussing this topic. Is it something that you have been always interested in, or is it because your duty mainly?
I must say, when I first started in 2019, on the 10th of July 2019, I did have some ideas about what's going on with Mother Nature and all that, but I didn't have the in-depth appreciation. I use the word appreciation because having a knowledge about it and appreciate the situation that you're in are two different things. And the more I work, the more I see, the more I realize that what I have been, or not just I, but the entire country or mankind have been experiencing in the past decades is a direct repercussion effect of what we did to ourselves. And it makes me really worried about how we are going to proceed forward. Because if he continues to operate and do things the way we did, that we've been doing for centuries, I don't think mankind is going to last into the next century, not until year 2100. And that is why I have been pushing very, very hard in all aspects in our ministries. Especially we have the ONEP, the Office of the National Natural Resource and Environmental Planning, as well as the Thailand Greenhouse Gas Management Organization. I've been pushing them very, very hard over the past 2 or 3 years actually, to work under the Paris Agreement and to make sure that Thailand, make ourselves known on the map of the world, that we are one of the world leader when it comes to addressing the issue of climate change. I mean, last year I went to sign a contract with my counterpart in Switzerland, with the Minister of Environment in Switzerland, to exchange carbon credit, and in return we would get the funding for changing the buses in Bangkok from diesel engines into the fully EV. Now this is the kind of thing that I've been pushing very hard to make sure that it happens, because 10 years from now, situations, floods and drought is going to be much, much worse than today. And if you don't do something about it today, we are leaving all the bad stuff to our newer generations. That's not fair.
Allow myself to arrange this. It's a tradition of this program to play a bit of a game.
Okay.
I will do this to every candidate.
Okay.
Despite the answer that you will be giving me, the first 2 guests of the show is Kun Tim and Kun Ung Ing.
Okay.
I asked them to pick the party they want
to be here next.
Nah, it's a bit tougher. They want to work with, the party they would rather not working with, and the last one is the one that may be up for the future.
So now I have to pick who I want to work with?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, it depends on who will be willing to take on my ideas, actually. Personally, I don't have, anything against all the political parties. The most important thing is that after the election, I mean, we are not a big party. So the choice of choosing, the luxury of choosing is not with us. We will be chosen. So in order to make a decision to join, to work with any of these political parties, depends on who is willing to take on my policy, our policy, the policy that we have been listening not just to the local people, but to the international communities. The WOW Thailand policy that we came up with is to ensure that Thailand becomes a sustainable country for all generations. Now, who will be able to take a lot of big chunk of my policy and integrate it into the government policy, that's the party I will work with. So I really don't have any quarrels with any of them. Phum Chai Thai, I'm a very good friend with Kun Anutin. Kun Tim, oh, well, we just sat together in the previous debate. Democrats, I know a lot of people in the party. Kla, Kun Gon, despite his height, we talk, at the same level constantly. Rwam Thai Sang Chat, well, I work with the Prime Minister every day at the moment. Palang Pracharat, well, I still see the leader, General Prawit, every week. Thai Sang Thai, Kun Ying Sudarat, she's also, a very old colleague since my father's time. And especially Pheu Thai, Kun Ung Ying, she's very promising, has a very promising future. And the entire party has one of the strongest stereotype in Thailand. So I have no problem working with them. It's just a matter of who will be able to take my policy and integrate it into their policy the most, then I'll be working with them.
Thank you very much.
Of course, no problem. The honest mind is always fun.
Yes. We've talked about politics and country. I save myself a bit of time, maybe 5 minutes to ask you the question, something a bit personal and family matters. And I asked you this because I want to learn it from you as well. I've watched your interview and there were a part that you mentioned about your father, and there was a time that there was like a hiatus, the absence that you didn't talk to him much.
Oh yeah, when I got married.
Yeah.
I was a good son all the way until I got married for we didn't talk for 3 years.
I think that happens a lot to people my age and my background and your background, like Thai, Chinese, family sort of stuff.
Oh, yes.
I have a lot of friends, including myself, that there are times that we are distanced from our parents, the loved one. What did you learn from that 3 years? And did you regret not talking to him for 3 years?
Well, it taught me a lot of things, actually. But now that I'm also a father myself, and now that I'm following my father's footstep, I realize how much love my dad gave me. Now, unfortunately, being a typical Chinese-born person, my father has, different people have different way of expressing love to their children. My father has a pretty hard way of expressing how much he loved me. But today, now that I'm working where I am, I just suddenly realize, my goodness me, how much sacrifice he has made in raising me until to where I am today. I regretted the fact that I didn't talk to him for 3 years. Unfortunately, if you ask me if I go back, will I do the same thing that I did? I still get married to my wife. Okay, when a man's going to get married, one's going to get married. Okay, unfortunately, the part that I didn't talk to him for 3 years, I wish I could change that. I wish I could express my appreciation to him more. I don't want to say thank you to him when he's gone. Now I'm saying thank you to him with his statue. I don't even know if he can hear me from up there, but I wish I could say thank you more often, and I wish I could say I love him much more often. But you will never understand this until you become a father yourself. My father told me that. He said, one day you'll know how much I love you, and said, back then, I said, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But now, everything that he said couldn't be any more true. And I can only beg everyone to really, I don't think there is any father that doesn't love his son, especially when you are the only son. I'm the only son and I'm the youngest. Every father loves his son, and It's just different father will have different way of expressing how his love to his sons. And let's hope that you don't learn how much of that love when he's gone. I wish that everyone would have the luxury of saying goodbye to their father on his last day. I didn't have that luxury. I was away when my father passed away. And I wish I could say goodbye to him, and I wish I could say thank you to him. But I only wish that all the sons would have time. I mean, you might have a fight with your dad right now as we speak, but believe me, at the end of the day, there is no one wanting the best in the world for you other than your dad.
You have mentioned that you're now working as a politician full time,
Yes.
and you learn more that your father loved you so much. I assume that he has done so many to lay the background for you. And can you tell me like what did you learn that okay, wow, he's already gone, and wow, this is what he done even when the time that you don't talk to each other.
Tremendous amount of efforts that he has made to make sure that I am not being attacked along the way when I was growing up. I didn't have a very enjoyable teenagerhood. I didn't go out partying, crazy partying. He was very strict. I didn't, when I was growing up, when I was the early days as an MP, my father wouldn't let me involve in any of the, how shall I say, when there's come to reshuffle of the politician, civil servants or something, he never asked for my comments. Or when there was some work in the province or something, he would shield me away from everything. I didn't understand why until today. My father, why you never ask for my comment? Why you never listen to my advice? Why you never listen to me? And now I realize that he's been shielding me from all the possible traps that could lay ahead, whatever that was. And now as a minister and as a politician, I think I have a pretty clean sheet so far. And that could be very difficult if my dad was not so strict. I didn't understand it back then. I do now. My father was very strict how I grew up. I didn't understand that back then. I do now. He never said how proud he was of me, but the way he asked everyone, said, please look after my son. It's getting back to me now. And I was just like sat there kind of gobsmacked, kind of speechless. So, wow, so a few people would come up to me and say, hey, Top, that your father came to me and said, please look after my son, okay? I was like, wow. That's why I said, if I could go back one thing in life that I could do, I would ask for just a chance to say goodbye to my dad on the 23rd of April, 2559, 2016, I think, to say goodbye to him and said, I love him.
Thank you for your answers. And I know you didn't mean to advise me, but there was a big lesson for me and a lot of people to keep connecting with parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ครับคุณเอง
โหวตเพื่อไทยปะล่ะ
โปรดก้าวไกลปะล่ะ
โหวตภูมิใจไทยปะล่ะ